Welcome back, riders. Today is a day I've been waiting for a really long time. It's suspension day. We got our K-Tech Razor R shock and we got our Öhlins FSK 108 fork kit. We're going to install both of these on the XSR. Now, these aren't modifications that you can just throw in about an hour. They do take a little while. So we're going to be splitting this up into a 3-part video series. This video, the first part, we're going to be putting the Razor R shock on the back. The second video will be the installation for the FSK 108 fork kit. In that video, we'll also do the install. We're going to be taking the trees off, draining the oil, all that good stuff. So that video is going to be following this one. Then the last video we're going to do, I'm going to take you guys out on the ride. I'll show you a video comparison of the suspension before and after. Literally cameras pointing at the rear end and the front forks, so you can see the differences in rebound and the springiness of all of it. I'll also provide feedback and commentary in it so you can get my opinion of how the bike ride has changed. So we've got a massive undertaking to do over the next day or two, so I'm going to quit talking and let's get right into it. So something else I want to point out in today's video, I just got a head cam mount, so you guys will be able to stay with me throughout all the action. I don't have to fumble around with cameras. So let's look at the K-Tech shock. Here's the box that it came in. Let's open this guy up. So in here, we've got the owner manual. We've got the C-spanner. This is to adjust the preload, the ride height, all that good stuff. And then of course, we've got the main item, the K-Tech shock. Look at that. Comes in a nice bag to protect it. I'll probably put my stock shock back in here. And here we go. So this is the top, this is the bottom. We can see we've got the preload adjustment here. You have dampening and length adjustment down here. This is really a badass shock. Now I do want to point out, this shock is not serviceable as far as I know. So after about 10 to 15,000 miles, you're likely going to have to replace this. But that's okay, I can live with that. So that's about all that comes in the box. So let's get this bad boy on. So the first step in the process is to get this mud guard and chain guard off. This is all one piece. So as usual, a 3, a 4, a 5, and a 6mm Allen is what you always need to take this bike apart. You're also going to need to take this rear set ankle guard off. That's just simply a 4mm. So the first thing we're going to do is take out the bolt that's holding the front part of the shock onto the bike. In order to do this, you're going to need a 14mm socket on both sides. You're also going to want to use a breaker bar because this thing is torqued in there tight. Once you get that broken though, you can use an impact wrench to get the rest of the bolt off pretty quickly. And now we got to do the same thing to the rear. Once you got that torque broken, grab your impact wrench and go to town. And out she comes, just like that. So if we do a little comparison between the stock and the K-Tech, you can see they're generally about the same length. The stock shock has these little gates. Those gates don't exactly give you total precision. When we come over and look at the K-Tech actually is threaded, so you can get much more fine adjustments on your spring preload. We also notice that there's some dampening and some lengthening capability in the K-Tech that we don't get with the stock shock. So to assemble, all we have to do is put everything back in reverse. We're going to want to initially snug everything up, but then we'll have to torque things down with our torque wrench. The next thing we're going to need to do is torque these bolts down. I happen to have all of the torque bolt specifications written down on this diagram. So pretty much these two items right here are for the rear shock absorber. It's looking like the front bolt gets about 32 foot-pounds or 44 Newton meters, and the rear gets about 29 foot-pounds or 40 Newton meters. So when you're torquing these down, you're going to want to remember you got to torque the nut, not the bolt. So now all we got to do is put the mud guard back on. So that was a pretty straightforward install. I did it myself. Total time maybe took me about 15 minutes. So the last step you want to do after upgrading your rear shock is adjust your sag. I'm not going to get into a huge discussion and demonstrate how to adjust your sag. There are a lot of videos out there that do a better job than I could ever do of showing you how to do it. One in particular that I like is from Dave Moss Tuning. I'll go ahead and put a link right up here, and down into the description so you can watch it and learn how to adjust your rear sag. So this was just the install portion for the rear shock. We've got 2 more videos coming. So the next video in this series is going to be for the Öhlins FSK 108s. We're going to put those on, so we'll have an install video for that, and then that's going to be followed by a ride review video. I've already taken this bike out with the stock suspension, put some cameras on the front and the rear so you can actually see the rebounding and dampening and everything that's happening. We'll put that video on a side-by-side comparison with camera shots with the new suspension on. Hopefully we'll be able to see the difference. I'm going to be riding the same course at the same speed and try and hit most of the bumps and the turns and everything. So we'll see how that goes. Most importantly though, I'll give you my feedback on how the ride feels after doing this upgrade. So stay tuned for that one to follow. That's all I got for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. Check out the K-Tech shock. It's pretty good. Link in the description. If you haven't subscribed to this channel already, do me a favor, hit subscribe. Leave a comment if you want. Let me know what you thought of this video. There's more stuff coming. Like I said, these are all going to be happening in the next 3 or 4 days. Ride safe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.